Okay, let's unpack this. Today, our mission is to break down the trust signals around online financial services. Specifically, we're focusing on a website called claimmoney.com based on the source material we've got.
Right.
We're looking at a site that deals with financial claims, and the big question is, how do you really gauge its credibility in the digital world?
And that's always the tricky part. The initial assessment from the sources kind of puts this site in a use with care zone.
Use with care, so not an immediate no, but
Exactly. We need to analyze why. I mean,
yeah.
it works like a standard website. It has basic security features. Plus, the web address has been around for a while, which, usually adds a little bit of credibility.
That's a point I wanted to bring up. The sources mentioned it's been registered for a decade. That's often seen as a green flag, right?
It is, but I'd call it a low-tier green flag. It's not as significant as you might think. Yeah, the sources are pretty emphatic here. Registering a domain for 10 years costs next to nothing. The real top-tier signals are things like verifiable corporate registration, affiliation with regulatory bodies, things that are completely absent here.
So that domain age is basically canceled out.
It's nullified by this huge gaping hole in transparency, yes.
And here's where it gets really interesting for me. The sources all highlight this major point of consumer uncertainty, which is the lack of clear information on who's actually running the site.
That's the core of it. For any site handling financial services, you expect to see who is running the show.
An easy-to-find company background, a physical address.
Something. Anything, really. The sources note a complete absence of those verifiable business details.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture for you, the listener, this kind of opaqueness is what makes people feel unsure.
It's more than just unsure. It means the operational structure is best described as ephemeral. You have zero legal recourse if things go sideways.
Because you don't know who or where to find them.
Exactly. Who are you going to sue? Where do you send the letter?
But wait, if the site looks established and it has that little lock icon, that's standard security, wouldn't some people argue that's enough for a low-risk transaction?
That's the common assumption, but our sources show a clear split in thinking. The missing transparency just moves the risk calculation way up. We're not just talking about a missing P.O. box. We're talking about the absence of a legally verifiable corporate headquarters.
Which is a crucial distinction for any entity dealing with claims or money recovery.
Absolutely. For financial services, the legal entity outweighs the digital facade every single time.
So let's talk about what actual users reported. Did the sources look at the real-world performance?
They did.
And what was the verdict on how well the system actually works?
The feedback is decidedly mixed. It sort of reflects that lack of clear corporate direction.
Mixed how?
People reported the process was unclear, or that the results were just frustratingly inconsistent.
Inconsistent in what way?
What's fascinating is that some sources pointed out it often came down to jurisdiction. So people in one state might see some partial success, while others in a different state just heard radio silence.
Which suggests the whole process isn't really systematized or legally robust.
Precisely. It can't reliably deliver across different regions.
So what does this all mean for you if you encounter a site like this? It's not flagged as, outright dangerous, but it clearly hasn't earned a high level of trust.
And I think this raises a really important question. When you're assessing online platforms, especially financial ones, that consumer transparency about who is running the show and where they're located is just paramount.
It's everything.
The mixed results, the missing corporate structure, it all leads to one clear conclusion from the sources. ClaimMoney.com is not fully established enough to handle sensitive transactions in a trustworthy way.
So the final takeaway here is targeted caution. Specifically, you should probably avoid sharing sensitive personal or financial details unless you've done your own thorough independent vetting.
Vetting of the corporate identity, yeah. Not just the website's technical shell.
Right. Okay, so a final provocative thought for you to take away. Beyond that standard securely lock icon in your browser, what's the single most important piece of verifiable identifying information you search for before committing to an online financial service? Something to mull over until our next deep dive.